Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. And yes, hello everybody. I don't think the Rider-Waite deck is the best deck for beginners. I'll share with you my thoughts and my views on why, but this, to be clear up front, this is not going to be a critique, okay, of the Rider-Waite deck. It's not going to be a critique on anybody's, viewpoint on which is a better tarot deck, and so on and so forth. But I think I have some value to share with you guys. So, what is the scoop and why do I make a video titled that? This is the most popular deck of tarot around the globe today, okay? It is very important. Let me throw you a puzzle here and say, what do you think is easier for a new learner, a new reader to learn? 156 potential card meanings or just 36? So it's from that perspective, making it easy for newcomers to learn, and you know what, putting a practical spin as well on the learning, that I'm doing this video. I'm excited to say to you guys that obviously I began with one of those, okay? Who can avoid that? And I love them. And you know what? I do collect them. So I have this, I have the pocket size, I have its radiant in a tin, or I have its universal in a tin, I have its, centennial in a tin. This is not a critique of the artwork or the artist, but in a way it's to say you need to know where this deck came from and what's the story behind it. And I'm not about to teach you the history of it, but I'm about to say check out some very, very knowledgeable YouTubers such as John Ballantyne. If you want to read to learn Rider-Waite system as per the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, I would check out John Ballantyne. But if you are new, and the Three of Swords scares you, and the Seven of Swords makes you wonder, what the heck is he doing? And the Five of Swords makes you ask yourself, who won? And all of that, let's just explain, guys. These are problematic cards. I want you to imagine this. Imagine having a child, okay? Imagine a baby's born. We're not talking about being parents, but do people feed babies steroids? I don't think so. I think people, you know what, those who have children usually feed them normal food. They grow up, they maybe after a while become adults, maybe they do this, that, then they maybe need steroids. Maybe they need, I don't know, something to, you know what, body build, to do this, to do that. But really, this is a deck on steroids. And the reason why I say that, even though in my humble view it's one of also the most simplistic in terms of its illustrations, but it's a deck on steroids because of this. With every one of the pip cards, you're going to have a suggested emotion. And what does that do to a new reader? You are now deciphering not only the number, but the emotion in there, and you're trying to find cues and clues to the imaginative and the beautiful artwork to try and connect the story. So it takes you down what I think is a bit of a rabbit hole for the new learner. Let's underline and underscore that. Compare that now to learning tarot, and instead of, you know what, me giving you a deck and saying, here, there are 78 cards there, learn the meanings, and also remember, if they come up reversed, then you got another maybe 78 kind of cards or something like that. Compare this to taking and I'm going to bring it up, a Tarot of Marseille or an historic tarot deck. When you really have your pip numbers, your pip cards are just a number. Guess what difference that makes? Now, you can begin to learn with decks like that, with a Marseille or a historic, just a 1 through 10. Let's count together, guys. 1 through 10. And then add the 4 courts, okay? The 4 court cards. That's 14. I know we have 4 suits, but just learning the energies of the knight is an action figure. The queen is likely more grounded, more analytical. The king represents completion. The page represents initiation, new beginnings, learning, etc., etc. So you've got about like 14 concepts now to add, plus your major arcanas. Okay? Compare that to you now having to always resort to the Five of Wands here being, oh, conflict. Come on. Fives have been, in my humble view, this may be a little critique, a personal opinion, but the fives have been really, really treated, I don't know why, in the Rider-Waite deck, including, obviously, you know what, all of them. Why? Change, the concept of change. So understand that when you read with this deck, You really are relying on the concept of, you know what, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, which is a derivative of the Brotherhood of the Rosy Cross. This is an occult society. They had their own beliefs, they had their own rituals. Look them up on YouTube, guys. I think they do have a channel, and they even show some of the rituals. So this is not a beginner's deck. I kid you not. A beginner's deck is a Marseille deck. And what's the problem with Marseille? Well, if you ask anybody, what is the problem with Marseille? Well, it's because it's numbers. And I have a hard time, I don't do numerology. Come on, you don't have to do numerology. Well, it's on its face numerology, but it's the simplest form of it, guys. I mean, this is one of the issues, and I'm going to pull a few here. So I have here Nine of Wands. I want to get you some swords. That's what I find most people kind of not struggle, but say is the, you know what, most unappealing thing about using a Marseille. The swords and the wands, in a way, kind of look alike, okay? Well, once you begin to identify, and it will not take you long, the shape of the wands here, that they're always, for the most part, going to be straight, and that the swords are always going to have some kind of a curve to them, your eye gets trained. And guess what? Now you're free to talk about the sweet Eight of Swords as a concept of advancement, not confinement. Well, the best guy who can give you and actually explain that Pixie's work is not bad. It is just a snippet, an instant of the thought of this or that. Petici, my good friend Vincent Petici, who's liberated a lot of minds around the world of tarot by saying, you know what, never mind what the elements do. Let's just work on the 1 through 10. It's part of the Querent's journey. Remember, as a reader, nobody comes to you because life is perfect unless they're completely bored, right? They're usually in the stage of from the 4 to the 6, the area where there are changes, where they need to get direction, where they need to get the confidence to advance. So really, you need to work with the question that you get asked versus the let's show it off, which now, sadly, a new generation, a proliferation of people who like to read in this fashion, and I'm not disrespecting those who read and call that intuitively, but those who also have absolutely no foundation for serious advice they're giving to people. Then it becomes a psychic, draw a line between a psychic story and a tarot reader, please. Please. Yes, 99% of the time, if not all the time, we are all psychic. But there is a distinction, and that's something I want to bring up. You don't have to be psychic to be a good tarot reader. Vincent Petici in his books, well, the concept is creative thinking, conceptual blending, taking random stimulus to answer elements of a question. Compare that to you learning, you know what, 156 of those, and then you're going to do the same spread. You're going to do a 3-card spread or a 10-card spread, whatever, what have you. And now you're locked into Pixie's, you know what, suggested emotion to you. That, you know what, the 9 of Swords, the sword suit has been really treated interestingly. The 9 of Swords, that always has to be a bad feel, racy thoughts, not even confinement. This is the moment, like doom is about to happen, because you know what's happening in the 10, right? And here it is. And it's, again, it's a suggested emotion, pardon me, suggested emotion. Now, Petici gives you the example on the 3 of Swords and says, yep, I can see why you put a, you know what, a heart there. I could see. Creativity is really what the word would, you know what, pull out, but really, at times we have to get creative around not so fun subjects. The example he puts is divorce. That's a form of creativity. But for God's sake, people, should it always be linked to misery? Why? Why? Anyway, they had their reason. That's why I'm saying, if you want to, you know what, delve deeper into this, look up a lady's channel named Tarot Living. I can't remember her name. Fellow Canadian as well, I think. Tarot Living is the name of the channel, and she is a Hermetic Order of Golden Dawn teacher. So you can figure it out. But there's basis to that, okay? There's more to it. Now, for the newcomer who just wants to read tarot and try to solve a problem and try to be predictive, I would urge you guys, learn meanings from 1 through 10. Well, it's so easy. Initiation, okay? Multiplicity, duplication, growth, duality, creativity, stability, change, perseverance, confidence, advancement, attainment, almost there, completion. There's 1 through 10. But work on the question. Work on trying to help someone versus trying to show off psychic abilities. And I'm not saying that, I don't know who's watching me really, but I do that in a way when I do rant sometimes about folks who like to just show that off and only pull that off. And of course, who like to bring spirit, and still with this, with respect to those who are genuinely bringing that up. So, what is the name? Archangel guidance. All due respect to you, okay? All due respect to you, to your tradition. It's really the trend of just people dropping in names and astrological correlations and then deterring people who may be curious from learning tarot because, oh my God, that's 156 meanings. So pick up a deck of Marseille for the same cost. Watch some of Vincent Petiti's videos. Watch some of my videos. Watch some of the readings and work on what's more important for you as a beginner. Memorize less. Use your mind more to break down a question. What, why, how, and when. Or even looking at past, present, and future. But don't you agree that opening it up and not giving you a suggested emotion on 40 pip cards frees you up and gives you less to memorize? See, people are inclined to memorize when there's that many images, right? You're inclined to say, well, this 7 is not like that 7. Oh my God, and then what? And then you end up going on YouTube, then you end up watching others. Then you end up picking from others. Then you really are not intuitive. You're copy-tuitive, okay? So trust me, build it up from the ground up. Learn your 1 through 10. Learn your page, knight, queen, and king. Learn your major arcanas. They will not be different, guys. They will not be different, okay? For the most part, obviously artistically different. But the genuine metaphysical concepts and meanings behind them are the same, okay? That has not changed. But where we got a little bit, is when we talk about the pip decks, the pip cards, and now we have Pixie and Arthur Edward Waite. God knows what kind of, environment they were at the time. God knows what was on their mind. When the 5 of coins had to represent lack. I mean, it's so hard to put a spin on it, for crying out loud. I would fight myself when I'm reading with that deck here. And I would say, you know what? They didn't have to get kicked out. Maybe it's a good reason. God knows. I know it's a scene of a church. God knows. Maybe there was lightning is going to strike the building and they're out there saved. I'm trying to find ways to make the 5 positive. Trying. You know what? And there are creative people. But for a beginner, again, to whom this is intended, and for the struggling person with Rider-Waite-Smith deck, it doesn't have to be this way, guys. Fetch a Marseille deck. You know what? Take the leap of faith. Work on your 36 potential card meanings, and then you get so good at it that now you're now talking about this 4 of swords. You're applying the element. Now you know this is, okay, an air element. This represents logic. This 4 represents the stability of what? You've built yourself up from the ground up, and you're, guess what now? Now you're able to scale up. Now you take on one of these and you can say what I just said to you, what Petitia will just say to you. Yes, this could be a death. And we know, you know what? A completion could be the death of someone. But it's only one form of it, for crying out loud. It's only one form of it. I have a hard time reading this, okay, with this, and saying this is the perfect business plan. Even though the element should suggest logic and rationality, etc., etc. So anyway, to each their own. But for all of you new beginners, trust me, give that a try and watch some of Petiti's in my videos, and you'll see how easy it is to build a strong foundation. And then you're going to be the one who is now adding additional colors and tones. Then go back and use Pixies. But use Pixies able to control the deck versus letting the deck lead you into leading your client into sometimes a dead end. Now, I hope that wasn't too long. My passion is to bring whatever knowledge we can to a new reader who wants to be practical and objective, and to a reader whose objective is to help the questioner practically and sincerely. Love you guys so much. Obviously, haven't had much of the tea, but tried to make it brief. Alrighty. Well, talk to you later, and as always, love you madly. And bye for now.